Welcome back to NewsForTeens.
In the previous N4T video, we covered the Supreme Court's decision to overturn Roe v. Wade. In the case Dobbs v. Jackson, the court held that the U.S. Constitution does not confer a right to abortion, and instead leaves abortion rights or restrictions to be defined at the state level. The court reasoned that there was no constitutional right protected by the Due Process Clause of the 14th Amendment.
In this video, we'll provide some background on the 14th Amendment, how the Supreme Court decision in Dobbs may impact rights other than abortion, and what bills the U.S. House of Representatives recently passed in attempts to codify rights that are at risk. In other words, going through the process of turning existing legal rights into legal codes so that they may be more difficult for the Supreme Court to overturn.
The 14th Amendment to the Constitution was adopted after the Civil War to protect individual rights from interference by the states. One specific clause in the first section of the 14th Amendment prohibits the states from depriving any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. Generally, due process refers to fair procedures, but it's open to interpretation. For instance, the Supreme Court has ruled that the Due Process Clause protects rights that are not explicitly mentioned in the Constitution, such as the right to privacy regarding a woman's decision to have an abortion in Roe v. Wade. However, almost 50 years later, the current court, composed of mostly conservative justices, reversed this decision based on their own interpretation. After the Supreme Court's decision in Dobbs, many believe that other rights based on the Due Process Clause are at risk of being overturned. Justice Clarence Thomas specifically wrote that the decisions related to the right to same-sex marriage, the right to contraception, and banning laws against private sexual acts, which all rely on the 14th Amendment, should be reconsidered.
In response to Dobbs, the House of Representatives has moved to pass legislation to protect specific rights in federal law. Once codified, these rights will be protected even if the Supreme Court decides that the Constitution's 14th Amendment cannot be relied on to grant these rights. On July 15, 2022, the House voted to pass two bills directed to ensure access to abortion. The Women's Health Protection Act passed 219 to 210 and gives healthcare providers the right to provide abortion services and their patients the right to obtain them. If enacted into law, the bill would invalidate a variety of state restrictions against abortion. All but one Democrat from Texas voted to pass the bill. On the same day, the Ensuring Women's Right to Reproductive Freedom Act passed 223 to 205. The act protects the right to travel across state lines for abortion services. All Democrats, joined by 3 out of 211 Republicans, voted to pass the bill. On July 19th, the House voted 267 to 157 to pass a bill to protect same-sex and interracial marriages. 47 Republicans joined the Democrats to pass the bill. On July 21st, the House voted 228 to 195 to pass a bill to protect access to contraceptives. 8 Republicans joined the Democrats to pass the bill.
Although these bills have passed the House, it remains to be seen if they'll have the 60 votes needed in the Senate to break a Republican filibuster. If a bill can reach 60 votes, it will be presented to President Biden to sign into law. Based on the Republican response, it appears likely that many will not pass, despite support from the majority of Americans. The outcomes of these bills may impact the turnout in the midterm elections.
Let's continue to monitor legislation aimed to protect or remove our rights. Thanks for watching and hope you learned something new.